Welcome to a tour of my favorite public restrooms. Number 1, the public restroom in the Cochran Mall. This mall used to mean something. It still does, but you don't really go into the mall anymore. This is a relic from the 80s. I suppose this would be also a shout out to Dead Malls. Oh, what's his name? Dead Malls. He also did he did a really nice one of the Cochran Mall. What's his name? Danson. The Cochran Mall has one public bathroom, and this bathroom's unique to me because during my wandering years between college, where I didn't really have a job and I was living with my parents, I needed an excuse to get out of the house, so I'd get in my Toyota Echo and I'd just go take a shit in this mall. It was like, well, I'm gonna make my day different. I'm gonna go in the Cochran Mall bathroom. Now, even then, back in like the mid 2000s, there still wasn't much going on at this mall. This mall, like as a parcel of land, as a piece of property, is doing like better now, even during the pandemic, than it was about 10 years ago, because they just started carving up the interior promenade of the mall into different larger stores. So you got the Dollar General, you have the Advanced Auto Parts. Inside the mall, there's like an Armed Forces recruiting center, and then the Goodwill is where the CVS was. So as far as it's a pretty good Goodwill. I got like a lamp or two here, and anyway, the bathroom used to have a stall, and now it doesn't. I guess people were doing heroin in it or something like that. But I'd come here to just take a dump because there was no one in this mall, and it was like having your own sort of little private palace. And I'd take time out of my day to just drive to this mall and take a dump. As far as interior amenities go, there isn't much. It kind of smells, and you kind of get like a weird look from anybody who sees you going into the bathroom. Like you're determined to use this bathroom. So the only people who are really going to look at you once you get past the Armed Forces Recruiting Center is like the barbershop, and that's it. And the people inside Planet Fitness can't really see you because there used to be like some sort of department store where Planet Fitness is. I suppose like the only reason why this bathroom is on the list is because of the building that surrounds it. 4 out of 10. It's not a great bathroom. It's not a place you really want to linger too much. But like Old Country Buffet or Haas Steakhouse or something like that, the point isn't the meal. The point is that you're out of the house. Number 2, another mall bathroom, the Fairlane Village Mall. After the Cochran Mall closed, this is probably our biggest one in the area. This bathroom was a refuge that I used for, like, if I had a work break at work. Okay, I used to work in this mall. I used to work in the Boscovs, and they had a 1-hour photo place in there, and that's where I worked. And we had a bathroom in that mall, in the Boscovs, but I preferred the one in the mall because it felt like I had autonomy, like I could leave the photo booth and walk out into the mall, into the real world, and leave the Boscovs. And the Boscovs is a department store for people who aren't in Pennsylvania, and this was a nicer bathroom than the Boscovs had. Yeah, it was about the same. But I could hear other people's conversations in this one, and I thought the people who were outside in the mall were of a higher class than the people who were inside the Boscovs. But really, it was just an excuse to take a walk. I pulled the same move in elementary school. where I'd use the bathrooms on the opposite side of the school, just to stretch my bathroom break as long as possible. And since I was a pretty good reader, I could like read ahead in whatever book we were reading, so I could take like a good 10 to 14 minute bathroom break, and no one would notice that I was gone. And I figured that was pretty much the same thing going on at work. I had a sense of autonomy in this bathroom. As for accommodations, this bathroom is used more than other bathrooms, although you do get a door, which you don't get in the Cochran Mall. There's more stuff to read in this bathroom, but the cracks in the door of the stall are thicker than the ones in the other one. And because this is kind of like an old man mall, there's a lot of people who can't dry their hands, so everything's wet in this bathroom. It's slightly better than the one in the Cochran Mall, 5 out of 10. Oh, and while we're on the subject of this mall, I should mention the bathroom in the Boscov's. This doesn't get a rating because every time I was in here, it was just a hurried shit. If I was using this bathroom at work, it's because I had to go right now, and I have to go up there and get back before the film gets through the developer. So no rating, power shit bathroom. Just give me a stall. I have to get in, out, and get back to work. There you go, bathroom in the Boscov's. Coming up at number 3 or 4, depending on how you're counting, is one of my favorite palaces in all the world. The bathroom of Moyer's Car Care Center and Moyer's Dutch Market. These guys have been taking care of my cars and the rest of my family's cars and friends' cars for over 20 years. I can't say enough good things about this shop and how well this place is run. This bathroom sees a lot of use, from everybody who works there, to everybody who's in and out of the shop, to everybody who's getting gas, to everybody who's buying lottery tickets, everybody who's getting subs, and everybody who just comes to hang out at the gas station, which includes all of my friends from high school. Excuse me, we gotta go back to middle school at this point. Or, freshman, maybe sophomore year before we had cars. We used to ride our bicycles down to Moyer's. And when I say Moyer's, I'm referring simultaneously to the gas station, the repair shop, and the convenience store with the deli and everything else. When you grow up in like these small Pennsylvania towns, I spent a lot of time up in my own imagination. So let's see. Moyer's Dutch Market was Tachi Station. The Cochran Mall is oh crap, Mos Espa, and the now destroyed Schuylkill Mall, that was Mos Eisley, and I think the Berkshire Mall, you're going all the way to Reading. Well, you're off planet. That's Coruscant. Coruscant. There you go. So this was the local hangout, and we would come here, and at the time, back in the 90s, this wasn't a special that was on the menu, but it worked out that you could get a a full pint of Gears iced tea. You could get 2 hot dogs and a bag of Middlesworth potato chips, because they were a quarter. You could get all that for $2. So this is going to Moyer's for the $2 special. So sometimes we'd chip in and we'd drink an entire gallon of gas station iced tea. And we'd be there with cups and a whole bunch of friends. To the point where a sign appeared in Moyer's Dutch Market. It had to have been 1996 or 1997. And it rhymed, and it said, this little sign where you would pull the foam cups out of the little dispenser there below the coffee machines. And it said, an empty cup just ain't free. With it comes a 10-cent fee. Now, I'm partly to blame. I'm more than to blame. for us getting the cold shoulder at that time from the people who are working at Moyer's is because we just hang out there and screw around. Because there was no internet yet, and if there was, or maybe there was RICnet, like some BBS boards, like Republican Online. Like the local newspaper had some sort of BBS board that I guess you would go on. We used to play this game called Global Destruction, which was an all-text game, and it was very macabre. So we'd go and hang out, and I'd just take shits in this bathroom. Like every single time we hung out, I went in here to take a dump because it's someplace different, and I'm gonna mark my territory. And this one time we were like wanted to film this skit, and this person behind me is on their phone like immediately before their car like slowed down. Their eyes are down. I'll know you're eating. What are you eating? What are you eating? Is that a Nutri-Grain bar? Still on your phone. Now we're moving. Knock it off, Brian. It's not your problem. If they could run into me, probably do me a favor. It's $5,000 Forester I drive. So this one time we were there with I was there, like I had to take blame for this because this was a skit I wanted to film with my friends. Seinfeld was riding high in the late, and I think it was 97 Seinfeld went off the air, so it was before that, so it had to be middle school. So we were there with I think Tom's, well really Tom's parents' VHSC camcorder trying to film like a Seinfeld skit in Moyer's Car Care, and I played the part of Kramer. And there's this one scene where, like, the skit was I had to go get a job, so I faked got a job at Moyer's, and they just bring this camcorder into the bathroom, and I'm there with the plunger violently plunging the toilet in the bathroom. You gotta imagine like what this looked like for the ladies who were working there. You just see a bunch of teenagers laughing in the bathroom with a camcorder, and one of them walks in, and you see this kid with like frizzy hair, with the plunger going gagoosh, 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 gagoosh in the bathroom, and another person filming it. And like it makes no sense. I wonder what happened to that tape. So yeah, shout out to everybody and Nush and all them who work at Moyer's Car Care. You are a very positive influence in my life, and I love you all. The English Hall. English and mathematics in this one. A lot of speed coffee shits I took here. Second floor. I believe this would be considered the south end of the building. We always joke that this academic hall was a well, my brother came up with this. It's a five-sided building inside of a four-sided structure, because you always had to walk around twice before you figured out where you were going. Anyway, none of my movements in here have ever been casual. They've all been hurried, because I'm either in between classes or I'm right in the middle of class. I believe there was like one or two classes I've had where I could take leisurely dumps in this bathroom, because the professor took forever to get to the point, was always pushing the schedule back, and I think Nick and I both know that Nick knows the professor we're talking about. Like, if you missed a day in class of this guy, you weren't missing much. So, I have one memory of, I can say his name because he's retired. I don't know if he's alive anymore. Dr. Netches. One of my shining moments in his class took place in this bathroom because I'm such a rebel. I wrote in pencil, didn't write in pen. I wrote in pencil on the wall of one of the stalls that said, you know you're growing older when your farts smell like your dad's. And he came into class like the next day and started class with that. Like, I read the greatest piece of graffiti on the wall today. And then I almost wanted to correct him because he says, you're growing up when your farts smell like your father's. And he thought that was so friggin' funny I think that was the same class. It might have been like portfolio development or something like that. It was like one of the last classes you take, or it's like a requirement for graduation that you just sort of put your portfolio together, and then like I think the head of the department has to sign off on it or something. And he got Jerry Spinelli to come in and talk. He was an author who wrote this. At the time, it was called a kid's book. Now I think they call it like a young adult novel. Maniac McGee, and I thought that was so cool. And all I remember about Jerry Spinelli is you keep kind of talking. And then he played with his lower lip the entire time he was talking with us. And then like another one of Dr. Netch's friends, it was one of the guys from Antiques Roadshow, or it might have been the host or something like that. And he just talked about you got to make money, you got to make money. And knowing like now, I understand what he's talking about. But back then, it's like, look, I'm like 21. I don't know what you're talking about. All I need is a job. And this guy's talking about being an entrepreneur. He could have like broke it down for us like a lot easier. Oh man, just being here on campus, I think about all the things I would have done different, or knowing that there would have been if only I would have known that there were an industry approaching where you could just make videos with a terrible sense of humor the entire time and like be, thanks to fans, financially independent. I would have done so much stuff different. All those wasted years. Well, moving on. Speaking of wasted time, the education building. This is the building where if you're going to become a teacher like me, you're going to spend a lot of time in here too. Because all the classes that teach you to become a teacher were taught in here. Also, when I was in graduate school, I had an office here. The office is now taken up by a professor. I don't know who they are. But I had an office in this building, and my job was to work for the Dean of Education. He's since passed away. His name is Darryl Garber. Great guy. I believe I was underutilized because there would sometimes be weeks that would go by and I would not have an assignment. So I had this office all to myself and like one other graduate student in here. So I'd just do homework or I'd browse Reddit. I remember one summer, like they kept me around for the summer, and I'd help like I guess organize Scantron sheets for like big classes, like your 100 level massive classes. And but sometimes there'd be just nothing to do. So my job was to look busy. So I'd spend a lot of time in this bathroom and walking with authority, which you could definitely hear. That's how I'm walking around this building. You walk like you got somewhere to be and no one questions it. So, and I didn't want to say like, I didn't want to go to Dean Garber and say, hey, I got nothing to do over here. Is there anything for me to do? Because then it becomes known that your position in the university can be eliminated, because it's like, we're not using this grad student for anything. So let's just eliminate the position and he can pay for college himself. So I got really good at looking busy. I would clean carburetors at my desk and stuff, do other things. So this building's closed. The bathroom in the dining hall. There were like a bunch of bathrooms in here for like events, but mostly there was just one back by the burger pit, and I used to work in the burger pit. And this was like the greatest moment of working at the burger pit, is that one moment where you get to just sit on the can, and I don't have to stare at the fryer, and I don't have to ask people to repeat themselves because I can't understand their order. God, I worked at this place for 2 years. I don't think I ever had a good time once working here. Because it's when you have a creative brain and you have to work a minimum wage job, it's torture. Henry Rollins had this bit about that. Like, you just have to learn how to shut your mind off and do this work. And I mean, I was not a bright kid because I just had such a huge problem concentrating. And also I did then and still now have a big ego. So I thought this job was beneath me, but really the job was above me because I thought I didn't have to learn this, but I shouldn't have to work here for this, what was I making then? It was like $5.75 an hour when I started, and then I think I got up to like $6.25 by the end. I'm like, well, I guess I'm getting a raise or something. But I wasn't able to swallow my pride and just learn how to make a good burger and just be nice. It took me probably another 10 years after graduation, because I graduated in 04. It took me another 10 years to learn that, Brian, there's something wrong with you. That you have to learn how to not open your mouth. You know, you have all these like jokes and stuff you want to tell in this gross sense of humor, but you have to just shut up and learn how to put on the mask of a normal person and do this job, or else you're never going to be able to leave this. Like, are you able to follow the simplest of instructions and be nice to people who you may not care for, and just learn to get them on their side? I wish there could have been like a Jocko Willing or something like that to just explain that to me. Like, here's the secret. You need to role play as a good worker, and then people will think you're a good worker, and then you can like move up or move out of this position. You need to do this job better than anybody else, and not do it in a way that you hope gets recognized. Do it for the sake of doing a good job. And it took me another 10 years to learn that, to just put your ego up on this shelf. You can go visit it after work. You can be creative and talk about dicks all you want. But the job here of flipping burgers is to just be a good person. And yeah, it took me 10 years to learn that. So maybe, I suppose it's good that I didn't learn that I could be a video guy in those days, because if I did become, well, let's be honest, did become famous then, I probably would have done something stupid. Probably would have gotten wound up over, somebody saying something to you online and taken it to heart and sacrificed, like, did some public relations, cause a public relations fiasco, the damage of which you would not recover from. A lot of reminiscing just about taking poops different places. So, we're going to end this with the greatest bathroom in Pennsylvania, and it's in the Graduate Center. I never had one class here, but I always use it. I would leave my dorm to use this bathroom. This is it's like your own little kingdom in here. No one uses this bathroom. It is clean. Look, the lights weren't even on. Had to turn the lights on. You get 3 different mirrors. You get, the only stall is I don't know what the term for it is now. It's the one that has to accommodate, a wheelchair. So it's great. Everything about it is, I gotta merge here. All right. We got the semi-truck. Come on, Subaru. We got a Ram towing a thing. Here we go, we're up to speed. Yeah, this bathroom's amazing. You can even control the temperature if you want to in here. I would come in here, I think I would grab like the student newspaper and just read it like an old man in here. This is one of the, I think it's the second oldest building on campus. And I think there's some offices in here. And I always felt like I felt smarter when I left the Graduate Center after taking a gigantic dump down here. There are other stories about other bathrooms on campus, and I'd love to get into one of the old residence halls and just tell stories about stuff that were in there. I don't know, whenever they let people start staying on campus, if there's anybody who's like staying in any of the residence halls,